And now today, I would like to say a few words about Dharma. The Buddha, as we discussed yesterday, is the teacher, but the main refuge that we seek or we try to find is not just the teacher, but that Buddha experience in ourselves, our own transformation. And all the different qualifications or different what really Buddha is not so easy to experience, to talk about. It's very complicated, and it's but basically it's the generally I think we can say this that usually we say it like this to make it very simple. If someone develops or increases one's wisdom and compassion to the utmost level, then he or she can be called a Buddha. The one who has the complete experience and understanding of how how everything is, how I am, and have no delusions about that, and therefore, that's the wisdom, and because of that, you have no no defilements. You have no. You don't have any negative emotions, and all the kleshas and are totally finished. Then you are a Buddha, and with that state of Buddha, then you have accomplished all purposes or all things that you want, and you also have accomplished all things that you want to do for the others, because you have the capacity to do that. So that's the Buddha. Now Dharma, as I said yesterday, if Buddha is like that, then why we don't have only one refuge, the Buddha? If Buddha could, do everything, if Buddha could bless and, change and, transform everybody, then yes, we don't need anybody, any other refuge than Buddha. But that is not like that, because the problem is not in outside, problem is with ourselves. So therefore, unless we can change, we can transform, we can understand, then things cannot, I cannot totally transform. So therefore, we need the Dharma. Now Dharma, usually we talk about two things. One is Tokpa, and second is the experience of the Buddha, Buddha's experience, Buddha's realization Buddha's, way of understanding and experiencing. That's the Dharma. Dharma is the experience of the Buddha. All his achievements, you can call it, his realization, you can call it, his his wisdom or experience, that is, and his understanding of how to lead people, how the path, experience of the path and experience of the result. Sometimes we call it enlightenment, wisdom, nirvana. That is the ultimate Buddha, Dharma. That's the Dharma. But then, because of that, that ultimate Dharma needs to be, transmitted. So therefore, the teachings that come from Buddha, various teachings that he gives, in order to help or in order to guide people, different people of different kinds and with different, mentalities and different, different capacities and different, inclinations and different cultures and different, people are very different from each other. So the guidance that Buddha gives, the teachings that Buddha gives to all these people is also Dharma. Because these teachings or instructions or guidance is coming from that experience of the Buddha, his enlightened experience of the Buddha. So these two are the Dharma. So therefore, this Dharma, sometimes we say that Dharma is the true refuge. Because, unless we try to understand the Dharma, we listen to the Dharma, we get the teachings and guidance of the Dharma, and then use that Dharma on ourselves, we can never change, we can never transform, we can never, learn, we can never become, we can never really truly transform ourselves. So therefore, the Dharma becomes the most important element for us. So therefore, in many sutras, it is said, Dharma is the ultimate refuge. But in some sutras, it is said, Dharma and Sangha are not the ultimate refuge. But ultimate refuge is Buddha. What they are saying is that Dharma is the way, the path, the vehicle with which you kind of go forward. So therefore, it's a little bit like a boat, you need a boat to cross the ocean or the river. So you go and use the boat to cross that river But when you arrive at the other end or at the other shore of the river, then you don't need the boat anymore. You can just leave the boat there and go. So in this way, all different kind of Dharma teachings are for us to, to learn something, to go forward, to take certain steps, to get from one place to another. And after that, then you go deeper, you go, and then, so therefore, Dharma is not something that is ultimate, but something that is like a way, vehicle. So is the Sangha. Sangha is there to help you to understand Dharma. So therefore, ultimate is Buddha, because that is what you actually need to, experience, recognize, that Buddhahood or Buddha nature or Buddha's experience that is within you, that you need to awaken your Buddha. So therefore, that's the final thing. That's the most important. That's the objective. That's the final goal. So therefore, they said that, and many times actually you will find in the refuge, you say, until I reach enlightenment or I become enlightened, I take refuge in Buddha, I take refuge in Dharma, I take refuge in Sangha. So if you become enlightened yourself, then you don't need to do anything. You don't need to take refuge because you have become them. You have become Buddha. So you don't take refuge, then you are Buddha. So therefore, you need to take refuge until then, not after that. That's something I think, just to make a clarification. So anyway, so this Dharma, then how to take refuge in Dharma is that I need to understand Dharma. I need to learn Dharma. I need to, really, know what, I need to know how to, of course, it's generally, as we all say, that, my main thing, our main thing, not just as Buddhist or not just as spiritual kind of a person, but as a human being, as a sentient being, what we want is we want to be, free from all these sufferings and pains and problems and difficulties and, all the negative things that's happening to my life, in my life. And I want to learn how to free ourselves from that. And then not only ourselves, but also help others to do that. We want to do that. And so now we should learn the Dharma in order to do that. We need to learn what are the true and, different causes of these sufferings and pain and problems, and then how to, work on that. So if you have that understanding, if you know that, then we can start to work, we can start to practice, we can start to, do something about that. So therefore, learning, listening, sometimes we call it listening to the Dharma, studying the Dharma, understanding the Dharma is the first. So first is to know, to study. And then second is to use that. That I learn one technique or one method or one, way that I can work on the causes of my problems and suffering, or one way on how to, face some of the problems, or internal or external or whatever, emotional. Then when I learn that, then I should try to use those. And that is what we call the practice. The practice is putting the instructions and understandings that I learn into use, and again and again and again, because what we have, the way we are now, is we have lots of kind of what we call defilements, or misunderstandings, or bad habits, negative habits, and wrong way of seeing things, and wrong way of reacting to things, which creates problems for us and problems for others. So therefore, these habits, this way of saying things, it doesn't necessarily just go away, only by a little bit understanding. We need to work on it. We need to use it. We need to be mindful of it. We need to do it again and again and again. And that's called the practice. So therefore, when we say I go refuge to the Dharma, it means that I would like to learn the Dharma, the way, the path, and different levels of the path and everything. And then I would like to use whatever at this moment is most useful for me, and the most that I understand, and then work on it. So I would like to do that. If I make a clear decision to do that, that's taking refuge in the Dharma. It's not taking refuge in Dharma is not like, Dharma, please, I pray to you, please help me, and please kind of save me, and please protect me. That's not, you cannot do that, because Dharma is not somebody. Dharma is not kind of somebody, a person, who would come and then help me. It's not that. Dharma is the teachings. Dharma is the instructions. Dharma is the experience. So therefore, it's not something that I ask for help, but I use it on myself, that technique, or that medicine, or that, whatever. That's going refuge to the Dharma. Now, yesterday, we a little bit went through this Kunchuk Jiten, the sutra of remembering or reminding the three jewels. And I kind of read through the Buddha part. I don't know if that was any use, or that was any help or not, because I couldn't explain too much. There is too much to explain. So I was planning to go through that today also on the Dharma. But so maybe I'll just read out and very, very quickly go through it, because this sutra is actually very, very important. And it is one of the things that usually is studied in the Shedas, things like that. But it is not something that is usually studied kind of, or given teachings on as a, as a practical, what can you say, meditation or something like that. I think because it is quite intricate. Anyway, so I'll just go through it. Then it says, Tambichun, Tomargewa, Pardugewa, Tamargewa. The sacred Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Now, sacred Dharma, Tambi Chu, Chu is Dharma. The word Dharma comes from the root text, Sanskrit text, Dharan, means like hold up, so that you don't fall down, something that, that helps you to not fall down, or Dharan, and then from Dharan to Dharma, the one that does that is Dharma. But the Dharma word in Sanskrit has many different meanings. There are usually 10 meanings. I'm not going to go through that, but this here usually is kind of 2 or 3 of these. One is the path, and that is also the Chu here. But another is Nyangende, the nirvana, or the enlightenment, or the experiences of the highest, realization. So that is also this Dharma here. Then, and Dharma is also sometimes, so I think these two mainly. Dharma is also sometimes like, like what you usually call these days, religion, which is like the practices and, rituals and all kind of things. That's also one of the meaning of the Dharma. So the Tibetan word chu also has all these meanings, but chu here is to change. Chu, Tibetan word, is coming from chu. I don't know if you can hear the difference between chu and chu, but is to change, to kind of to transform. So something that transforms us. That's the chu. So it's Tomar Gewa, good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. So this is, there are long commentary on this, actually, why it's good in the beginning and good in the middle and good in the end. But, good in the beginning basically is that if we can really study the Dharma, understand a little bit of Dharma, it gives us inspiration. It gives us an inspiration. It generates, understanding. It gives us kind of a confidence. It shows us a way. So therefore, it helps us or guides us or inspires us to learn and go into kind of in the positive direction. So therefore, it's said good in the beginning, because it kind of helps you to turn into a positive way. So therefore, good in the beginning. Good in the middle is that once you are inspired and have some interest and have some little bit kind of understanding of the Dharma, then if you study it and if you practice it, you can get, you can reflect on it. You can see and look and investigate from any different ways. And the more you look, the more you investigate, the more you ask questions, it gives you more and more, what can you say, more and more confidence and more clarity and more, true kind of faith and trust and devotion. So it is something that, you can explore, you can ask questions, you can, so the more and more you investigate, the more you learn and the more you get, convinced and, certainty about the path. And that makes you actually really, work on it. And if you really work on it and if you use those methods, you will also start to, see the result, see the transformation, because you can see, what are the causes and conditions of, pain and suffering and problem. And you can see that there is a possibility to free yourself from there. And you have some understanding how to do that through the understanding of Dharma. And so therefore, you actually can get into, if you really understand the Dharma properly, you can understand how it works. So that is good in the middle. Good in the end is that if you really have that, and then if you keep on truly, practice, then you can actually not only, find a little, what can you say, relief from sufferings for a short time, little kind of short-term, what can you say, benefits and things like that. But you can totally, completely transform yourself, and you can completely, find a way to have a complete eradication of all the causes of the problems and sufferings by transforming completely yourself and become, enlightened, what they call it, awakened, what they call it. So therefore, it is the good in the end. So therefore, Dharma is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. Then it says, example, it's excellent in meaning. So this is, these are talking about the teachings, Dharma teachings. The first talking about the Dharma teaching. They're like sutras or tantras and what the Buddha taught. It has, if you look at the meaning, it's very, very, very good. Everything it is taught is something not kind of useless or not unbeneficial or not, that is not kind of necessary, but everything that is there is something useful, something purposeful, something that would really, you can use it and help you. So therefore it's called excellent in meaning. Tsinduzambo, excellent in words and syllables, means that, the Dharma teachings, whether it's the sutras or tantras, the words that are said there are completely, very refined, and each word has its meaning, and the words, every word has, sometimes many levels of meanings and things like that. So they are all good, excellent in words. Mandipa is distinctive. The teachings of Dharma are, very distinctive, clear, and given different methods for different people. So therefore, there are many different yanas and many different, type of practices and type of instructions. They're varied, lots of varieties. But all these varieties are not contradictory, but helping each other. So therefore, it's distinctive. Also, Zopa is totally complete. Means that the Dharma, if you study the Dharma or really look into Dharma, then it's a whole path. It's not a little bit. It's not just a, small, a part, or, only one part, and then the rest is not there. It's not, it's from the journey from the beginning till to the end. It's a complete instructions, if you look at, so therefore it's called Nyonsu Zopa. It's totally complete. Nyonsu Tapa is totally pure. It's totally pure because the Dharma doesn't, discuss or give any instructions or any teachings there, which is put there with kind of negative emotions or, any kind of personal interest or things like that. It's completely pure, utterly pure. Nyonsu Shawa, it completely purifies all the things that is the Dharma is to purify yourself, to transform yourself, to free from all the causes of sufferings and pain and problems. So therefore, it's purification. The Buddha teaches the Dharma perfectly. So it's
je suis ici à cause de ça. Il y a un problème. Elle m'a dit que vous vouliez savoir pourquoi elle était plus au néon écarlate.
So I can hear the, I think, translator. It's okay.
I've stopped it.
Okay. Other people have to hear it, not necessarily me. The Buddha teaches the Dharma perfectly. Perfectly means, it teaches to different types of people what they need. Buddha doesn't teach, something to everybody, and then everybody has to do that, whether you like it or not. It's not like that. It's, there are many different ways, many different paths, and many different, approaches. And whoever kind of is, what can you say, different people, whoever is, is whatever is more understandable or more suitable for you, that you can use and that you can practice. So therefore, it's not something that is, kind of only for some people or only useful for some people. Not like that. If you look at the whole Dharma teachings, it is something, there is everything that's needed for every different type of people. And, but all these different things, like different yanas and different approaches and different sutras, and if you look deeply, they are not different. They are also not, contradictory. They are one, and they come to the same point. So therefore, they're persona, perfectly taught in a perfectly. It brings unerring vision. With the understanding of Dharma, it kind of helps you to see things clearly, see things in the right way, because the most important thing for us is how to see things, how to understand, how to, have our insight or have our understanding, how to, because this, is very important. Sometimes, how we go through certain difficulties and problems in our life is not because, what I mean is that two people can go through the same kind of tragedies and same kind of pain and same kind of, difficult life. And then after that, one person can have lots of troubles and lots of difficulties and totally, traumatized and broken and, really in a bad shape. And another, not so much. Why? Basically, it's because of our outlook, I think it's because of our way we see things and how we see things. So therefore, the way we see things is so important. And the Dharma teaches us how to see things in the right way. Nemeba, it is without affliction or disease, because, the Dharma is said to be actually like medicine, it is usually said that one should take these 4 right approaches to the practice and study of Dharma, which is like you see yourself, the Dharma practitioner, as like the patient, and see the teacher as the doctor, and see the Dharma as the medicine, and see the the study and practice of Dharma as using the medicine, so that we kind of we can be cured of our diseases. So therefore, it's kind of and many times Buddha is also called the great physician, a great doctor, because the Dharma is something that heals you, that heals you from inside, that cures your your negative emotions, negative habitual tendencies, and afflictions and things like that. So therefore, Nemepa. Tuichepa Mepa, it's constant and always timely. So the Dharma is it doesn't really go out of time. It's not something that can become like it's no longer useful now because it was taught 2,000 years before. It's not like that, because it's directly, you know, kind of approaching the most deepest pain and problem and difficulties they cause us, which are not something changes with time and with kind of different happenings and things like that. Only a little bit how to approach that maybe changes a little bit, but the actual instructions never change. So therefore, it's a constant and always timely. The instructions given 2,005 years before is as relevant now as it was then. So therefore, it's like that. Nyevar Tepa, it is trustworthy when applied. If you apply it, it would work. Of course, if you don't apply it, it wouldn't work. So therefore, trustworthy when applied. Saying it fulfills one's purpose. So if somebody understands or reads or studies Dharma, it actually, even if you understand a little bit or one thing out of that, it would help that much. So therefore, it is useful, it's purposeful for understanding or seeing it. The wise can validate it through their own awareness. So, the Dharma is something that you need to experience and practice. So, a great, Kepa here is wise, a wise person, or the person who really, uses the Dharma on themselves, then they can actually validate, they can have the experience of that. So wise can validate it to their own awareness, to their own experience. The Dharma taught by the Buddha relies entirely on training the mind. It is truly delivering it causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It's all embracing. It is constant. It's constant, or Tempa Yopa is so the teachings, especially like Ndulwa, is like ethics or the conducts. It is something that is if we use that, if we implement those trainings, then it makes it, it creates the base of all positive things happening to us. Because, when we actually take the kind of the basic, say like precepts or something like that, and then we create a situation for ourselves that actually nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. So therefore, we become a reliable person, a trustworthy person, a good citizen, somebody who is, who is not doing anything negative, but only trying to do something, something positive. So all positive qualities can build on it. So it becomes like the good grounding or good foundation. It's truly delivering, means it's the Dharma will kind of Ngepan Jongwa means come something out of that. It will really bring the results if you practice it, if you truly practice it, understand. It causes one to arrive at the perfect enlightenment. So, whether you become enlightened or not, whether you are able to completely, transform yourself or not, is not because, I'm not intelligent enough. It's not because I'm not a good person. It's not that because I've done bad things in the beginning or in the earlier. It's not because you are not kind of born in certain certain families or certain situations. It's just because whether you practice or not. So whether you become enlightened or how much you that Dharma works or not does not depend on what you did or what you are, or it depends on how much you really understand and practice it. So then, therefore, it will, there's nothing that, of course, if we practice not little bit and we don't understand too much, or which we, a little bit lazily and slowly, then you don't get it too quickly. But if you, things like that, it will make you go. Mantaba mentioned Demba. It is without contradiction. It's all embarrassing. As I said, there are lots of different methods are given, and also, seemingly different things are taught. But if you look in totality, they're all one, and you cannot, there's there's nothing contradictory. Tenpa Yopa is something that is totally reliable. It's constant. Jua Chepa, it is the cessation of all uncertainty. Jua Chepa means like the Dharma can stop or seize it. It can create this. It ceases to Jua means moving. Moving means like you can go from one step to another step to another step, things like that, and then it cuts its cessation. It's not really all uncertainty. It means it can go to the deepest or the highest level. So it will get you to a place where you don't need to go any further, or you cannot go any further. That means you can go till to the highest, or till to the end. So that's called Jua Chepa, cutting all the. So this is, in this Kunchu Jeten about the Dharma. And because tomorrow we are going to talk about the Sangha. I don't know, about this Tsawa Sum. The three roots. Three roots is the kind of mainly the Vajrayana approach. Vajrayana terminology. Vajrayana terminology, of course, in Vajrayana also, we talk a lot about Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But we also talk about, Guru, Deva, and Dakini. And it's kind of same in a way. So Guru is equal to Buddha. That is Lama, Yidam, Khandro in Tibetan. So Lama is equal to Buddha, Yidam is equal to Dharma, and Khandro is equal to Sangha. Now Guru or Lama is the same thing. In Sanskrit, it's called Guru. In Tibetan, it's called Lama. Guru in Sanskrit actually means teacher. Nothing more, nothing less. Guru. If you go to Sikkim, all the teachers, like male teachers in the schools, they call it Guru Babu. And the female teachers, you will say Guru Ama. So, the Guru is teacher. In Tibet, they used another word, Lama, which, little bit try to differentiate the general teachers or every other teacher from this kind of teacher of the Dharma. Lama in Tibetan is a very high, it's like nothing more, nothing higher than that. So it's a Lama. Now, Lama or Guru of this kind is, somebody who has the, experience of the Dharma, transmission of the Dharma, experience of the Dharma, and, who can actually transmit and, show the Vajrayana teachings. Of course, when we talk about Lama in Tibetan, it's not necessarily only Vajrayana teachings, but, so a genuine Lama, true, authentic, you can say maybe, a real Lama. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama used to say, there are three types of, Tulkus and Lamas, they say. He used to say, there are Tulkus who are Lamas, there are Tulkus who are not Lamas, there are Tulkus, Lamas who are Tulkus, Lamas who are not Tulkus, and all this kind of thing. I think I don't need to translate that. So a real Lama is somebody who is really very, very highly, who has all the experiences and instructions and the compassion and the motivation to transmit the teachings. That is the Lama. But nowadays, anybody who is wearing this robe is sometimes called Lama, many times. That's like, you can call me Lama. But if you say, are you really Lama? Then, I don't know if I'm real, true Lama or not. That's another matter. Yeah. So, ideal Lama, a true Lama, is because that Lama has the teaching, can give the transmission, can show the way, can give the empowerments, true empowerments, not just the ceremonial empowerments, can instruct, and so therefore it's similar to Buddha, similar, and then so therefore, I think it's very important to understand that everybody who is called Lama is not that kind of a Lama. Of course, there are many different levels of teachers. The Buddha teachers, that's also Lama. Buddha is also a Lama. The one who who has the experience and the full experience, full, all the positive qualities, and then can transmit and guide. And then the lamas of, like great bodhisattvas, that's also Lama. And then lamas who are completely like very well trained and, know everything about, the teachings and things like that. That's also Lama. At different levels of, different levels of bhumis, like realizations. There's also Lama. But then there are also lamas who are like samsaric, like I don't say most of us, but I would like to say most of us. From my point of view, most of us lamas are like that, but it is because of my wrong view, I think, and my kind of impure view. But samsaric lamas. And now samsaric lamas are not useless. Sometimes people ask me, few people ask me, are you enlightened? I say, no, of course I'm not enlightened. Oh, then you are no good. I want to get another teacher, another Lama, because, if you are not enlightened, how can you help me? I say, of course, please get a good Lama, enlightened Lama. But in my mind, sometimes I feel that, okay, I'm not enlightened. Of course, that's true. And it's not, and some people say, you said that you are not enlightened, and you say just to be humble. Actually, you must be enlightened. I say, of course, I am truly not enlightened. Why should I say I'm not enlightened if I am enlightened? But, I'm truly not enlightened, even nearby. But I also, sometimes, if you are looking for an enlightened person, and then somebody comes and says, I am enlightened, do I really believe that? If somebody says, I am enlightened, and then I say, yeah, he must be enlightened because he says he's enlightened, I have problem with that. So therefore, it's not, I don't know. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, it is said that even unenlightened, however unenlightened, however samsaric the teacher is, if he has the teachings, a proper training of the teachings, and with genuine motivation, if he is teaching, then it is okay. It is okay. It is useful. It's good. And this is the idea. This is the understanding from Buddhist point of view, and from Tibetan's point of view, that, but this teacher should have a proper, understanding and training, and should have a proper, motivation. And if he has not proper motivation, then even if he's trained well, it would not be very good, because then, he could use his own, what can you say, unbeneficial, his own, what can you say, egoistic motivation, and would not be useful, or would not help the students. But if he's not trained, then what can he teach? He cannot teach. And even if he tries to teach, he would teach something wrong. So it would not be useful. So this is something is important. Otherwise, especially in this, what we call degenerate time, it is very difficult to find truly qualified lamas. So therefore, even if that lama is not as qualified, or as highly qualified as it should be, we should still take it with great kind of reverence, because it's not easy to find. And that, if you find a real, genuine, qualified and great lama, then you have to see, you need to, you can see him or her almost or at the same as the Buddha. That's where, it comes that, Lama is actually no less than a Buddha. No less than Buddha doesn't mean that that Lama is exactly Buddha. In qualities, no Lama can be as good or as at par with the Buddha. But, if his teachings can really help you transform, then it's like the Buddha. That's why when Milarepa, when Gampopa, the great, the Kagyu master, met Milarepa, and he received all the teachings in a very short time. And then when he was leaving, because after giving all the teachings in a very short time, actually, in a year or two, then Milarepa said, now you can go home. I've given you everything, like, from one vessel to another vessel, like poured everything. So now you know everything what I know. now you go and you don't need to hang around here. You go back to your country and you practice. And many people later asked questions to Milarepa. They said that, we are with you for years and years. All our life we have been following you and we are practicing and, listening. And you never said that you go away and practice by yourself. Now this monk from Central Tibet, he comes and, you give him everything, and in a year or two, you just ask him to go, and you say that you have given everything and he has learned everything. How is that happening? How is that possible? I think they were a little bit jealous of him. And then Milarepa said, well, he knew how to ask questions. So knowing how to ask questions is important. And Gampopa, he had lots of faith and trust in Milarepa. But then Milarepa said, you go and go to Gampodar, that is where he was from basically. And then practice there, meditate there. And one day, you will feel that your father, me, Milarepa, the spiritual father, is completely Buddha and nothing else. And if that happens, then you start to teach. Then you start to teach. Before that, you don't need to teach. So this happened. Gampopa went back, he practiced many years, many years. And then slowly, he started to say, Milarepa, not just a great master or, a great teacher or a kind person, but really, really nothing else but the Buddha. Completely, truly, without kind of forcing. Because he actually experienced all the teachings that he gave, and he was starting to, to actually become enlightened kind of. So therefore, then you can't see any difference between the Buddha and the teacher. So when in the tantras you talk about, seeing your Lama as Buddha, it's not at the beginning. That would be the end. And that's the result. If you really, start to see your teacher as the Buddha, then that means you actually got fully benefited from his teachings and you really got transformed. Therefore, you see him as the Buddha. It's not saying, this is very important to understand, I think. It's not saying that if you kind of study or practice Vajrayana, then you have to see your teacher as Buddha, and you have to, you have to say that actually I don't think he's Buddha, but I have to see him as a Buddha. That is not right. You are not kind of imposing a kind of you are not, what can you say? You are forcefully trying to see, or as a Buddha. That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. You can't say that he's not a real Buddha, maybe not, but I have to see him. That doesn't work. But when when you actually start to practice and start to have some result of the practice, then you will naturally see him as the Buddha. That's very important to, I think, understand. But when we are talking about the Lama as the Buddha, that's that, that the ideal Lama, the most qualified Lama, then he has really become your Lama, also your root Lama, because you have benefited from that. Okay. Is it better now? I forgot to turn on my light. Anyway, so that's the Lama. And the Yidam, again, in Sanskrit, it's a Deva. Deva is like God or gods, in India, they have, every kind of, they have lots of gods, they are like, I think, how many gods are there? Like 60 crores or some 60 crores means 600 million gods are there in India or something like that. So each family has their own root, family god and things like that. That's Deva. But in Tibetan, it's translated as Yidam. So that is the ultimate or the main practice. That's Yidam, the Yidam, main practice. And that is, like where you kind of, your mind holds or, is Yi is coming the mind, and Dam is kind of, is the mind is, you can say something like tightly holding or something like that. So Yidam is the main practice. So that's like that's like Dharma, in Vajrayana, there are different tantras, different tantras. Kalachakra Tantra, Hevajra Tantra, Tara Tantra, all kind of tantras, tantras of Kriya Yoga Tantra, Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantras, Anuttara Yoga Tantras, and then on top of that, Maha Yoga, Anu Yoga, Ati Yoga, all kind of different tantras. So each of these tantras, what you really use as your main practice, that's called Yidam. So therefore, it's not just a kind of a deity or mandala, it's not that, but it is the whole practice of that, say like you have one, like you have one tantra, like, Hevajra. Sometimes you have the mandala of Hevajra, and the deity of Hevajra with with many heads and many hands and all kind of things. But that's not just that. In this tantra, you have lots of teachings, lots of methods, lots of different practices, lots of, so all this together is the Yidam, So Yidam actually is the teaching, is the Dharma. Dharma is the Yidam, and it's just different way of, presentation. And Dakini is, okay, I think I think I should stop here. I can talk about Dakini tomorrow. I have nothing much to say anyway. I don't know what Dakini is actually. I think it's not just a naked lady or something like that. So I stop here. And if you have any questions, you can ask, but there's not much time because I forgot about the time, looking at time, but doesn't matter. Any questions or not?